Hello, and welcome to another hero guide brought to you by dota-two cast. My name is Zegas. Today we'll be looking at the dire strength hero Pudge. Pudge is infamously known for his skill shot meat hook. This ability is incredibly difficult to master, but is very devastating and rewarding when properly hit. Meat hook launches a hook projectile originating from Pudge and pulling anything it comes into contact with back to Pudge. With each level, the distance the meat hook travels increases, which is what makes Pudge a very level dependent hero. Meat hook deals pure damage, meaning that this damage cannot be mitigated by magic resistance or armor. Don't forget that meat hook applies a small mini stun to the target, which will disable any channeling abilities such as TPs. However, this mini stun effect is removed if used on allies, so you can't cancel their TP channel if you decide to hook them to safety. Note that the mini stun will not apply on invisible units, but will still apply the damage. Rot is Pudge's main snare effect. Pudge exudes potent bodily fluids all over your opponent, but also inflicts the same amount of damage back to Pudge. This ability deals magic damage, so it is reduced by magic resistance, which works both ways, for Pudge himself and his enemies. This ability serves a very important purpose in the fact that you can use it to deny yourself if you're in critical condition. Rot also cannot be disabled if silenced, so if landing against a hero that is able to silence you, be cautious that you can nearly kill yourself if a well-timed silence is applied. This ability does damage to invisible units so long as you remain next to them. On a side note, you can use healing salves while rotting, and it will not remove the healing effect, as opposed to the original Dota, in which salve is removed at level 4 rot. Flesh Heap is what helps Pudge scale into the later parts of the game. It offers him 16% magic resistance as well as 1.8 strength gain per hero kill at level 4. This ability is retroactive, which means each and every kill that occurs will count towards Flesh Heap, even if you didn't skill the ability yet. Keep in mind you don't have to deal the killing blow or even get an assist on the target so long as you're near the area in which the hero dies. Dismember is Pudge's ultimate. It's a very strong damage dealing disable that allows you to deal rot damage while also allowing your team free shots at the targeted hero. This ability is able to stop channeling abilities, so should the opportunity arise, you should take full advantage of it. This ability is heavily improved by Aghanim Scepter, which scales the ability by 75% of your hero's strength, while also healing Pudge for the same amount of damage Dismember inflicts. Keep in mind that you are still able to channel this ability on magic immune targets. However, it will inflict no damage whatsoever. Pudge's skill build is very simple as there's no deviation from this build whatsoever. You pick up Rot at level 1, 4, 8, and 9. Meat Hook at level 2, 3, 5, and 7. Dismember whenever possible. And Flesh Heap at levels 10, 12, 13, and 14. Rot is picked up first due to its uses earlier in the game. As Meat Hook's range is increased as points are put into it, the level 1 iteration of the spell is quite weak. Rot is also used for first blood attempts thanks to the perma slow and allows you to deny yourself should your opponent shoot for a quick first blood on Pudge. Flesh Heap is picked up at level 10 because of its retroactivity. Pudge has much better skills to put the points into and should never pick up Flesh Heap earlier. Pudge's item build is highly variable from player to player and is best left up to the player and the situation they encounter within their specific game. As a result, there are a few different starting item builds for Pudge. The safest starting item build and the item build I recommend for players who are just starting to play Pudge is as follows. Pick up a salve, a set of tangos, 2 branches, 2 clarities, and finally a magic stick. This build offers a substantial amount of regen, ensuring that you'll have the mana and HP to go for kills whenever required. A potentially higher risk item build that puts an emphasis on a faster bottle and urn is 2 gauntlets of strength, a salve or 2, and 1 or 2 clarity potions. This is the item build I prefer to use because of the strength of Urn on Pudge, especially since he's going to be roaming around the map for the majority of the game. Urn will always have charges and will be an invaluable tool in keeping you alive, healing your teammates, and dealing additional damage. Now, the variability in this build accounts for how comfortable you are going against your opposing team's solo hero. If the lane is going to be difficult, I recommend picking up 2 salves rather than 1. If you're confident in your hooks, you may also pick up 1 clarity. As Pudge is a very level dependent hero, he is typically placed in the solo lane. However, it's not uncommon to see Pudge put in the side lanes as well. If you're being placed in the side lane, your starting item build should always be Salve, Tangos, 2 branches, and 2 clarity potions. You want to do this because you can create a magic wand from this build and it will be your best chance at keeping a high mana pool, as bottle and side lanes is typically a horrible choice. Out of the available boot upgrades you have, you should choose between either Phase and Arcane boots. Boots of Travel is amazing on Pudge, but due to the hefty price tag, it's not always viable. If you know you're going to have poor rune control, Arcane Boots is by far the best choice, as the mana gain as well as the active ability is an invaluable tool to ensure Pudge always has mana and is ready to gank at a moment's notice. Phase Boots allow you to chase down nearly any hero and grab a kill without being blocked by creeps. It also helps to avoid the situation in which faster heroes simply outrun your rot. Treads, on the other hand, are pretty useless since the 8 strength points is not going to help you nearly as much as the free mana or the phase effect. The attack speed gained from the boots will never be used, as you'll rarely be standing still long enough to actually make use of the faster auto attacks. The majority of your time will be spent chasing down heroes and making sure you're in range for rot. You should follow this up with either a Vanguard or a Hood. The choice entirely depends on the opponent's team makeup. Keep in mind you can make a pipe from the Hood, which is very strong against heavy AoE teams. Most of you are probably inclined to buy a Hood, so you can deal less damage to yourself with rot. This, while true, is actually a poor reason to pick up the Hood. This is due to the fact that you get heavy diminishing returns when you have level 4 Flesh Heap. Only pick up a Hood if you're against a team that deals the majority of their damage through magic. Items Pudge should look into after getting his core should include Force Staff and Aghanim Scepter. As of current, any hook manipulations that occurred in the original Dota with Force Staff is gone. For example, you can no longer increase your hook range by 600 if you Force Staff yourself as soon as you throw out your hook. However, Force Staff is still a great item on Pudge to close distances and escape with. Aghanim Scepter, in my opinion, is the go-to item for every Pudge player. It drastically increases the potency of Dismember while granting you survivability and a larger mana pool. Also worth mentioning is Blade Mail. While it's highly situational and should only be picked up if you're being targeted very early on in the team battle, the results can be absolutely devastating. Don't underestimate Pudge's role in team battles, even later into the game, as Pudge is a huge nuisance no matter the situation. Luxury items such as Heart of Tarask or Shiva's Guard are great items on Pudge, but due to their insanely high cost, such items are usually not attainable on Pudge because of the strong roaming role Pudge plays. As a solo mid Pudge, you want to play conservatively until you hit level 3. Once you do, you'll be able to kill the vast majority of mid heroes at that point. There are 2 basic ways of doing so. The more obvious way is to land a hook followed by rotting them to death. The other method, which best works against melee or short-range ranged heroes, is to walk up to the creep wave as if you're going to go for a last hit, and simply walk on top of the hero and rot them. This will usually force the hero to head to their tower, at which point you'll have a point-blank hooking opportunity. Keep in mind, if you employ this strategy, you never want to auto-attack the hero. You just want to walk around them so that you don't aggro the creep wave, as you will start to take way too much damage. Additionally, whenever you use this, try to run in front of the hero and block them on their way back to maximize rot uptime. Look for any opportunity to hook a hero into the tower range, as this will be the easiest way for you to grab a kill. If you're laning against a hero with an escape mechanism, there are very few ways to kill them. They typically involve the running up strategy or having a hero with a disabled gank. If you do see the chance to run up and rot the hero, go for it. They'll react instantly by using their escape mechanism. This is where your reaction time comes into play. Most heroes have to face the direction they choose to use their escape mechanism in, so this automatically tells you which path they'll be traveling down, and it's at that second that you want to throw your hook. Don't hesitate to ask for help with mid lane. Oftentimes you simply cannot kill these heroes if they position themselves properly, and if left alone to farm, it will be very difficult for your team to stop them later on. So having your team come in and throw a gank or two is often the best decision. Pudge doesn't necessarily need a certain level to begin ganking. If you happen to find an invis or a haste, you should always look for a ganking opportunity. Whenever you gank, you should open with hook so that you place the enemy in an unfavorable position. If possible, attempt to use the tree eating trick, which creates a box in which if you successfully land the hook, your opponent will have nowhere to run. If you're not confident in your hooking ability, make sure to use fog to get yourself into a position that allows you to run into your opponent without being detected until it's too late, so that you can use rot to land a point blank hook. In a side lane, your role is simplified greatly because if you partner up with a disable, it removes any variability with hooking. As soon as they throw out their disable, it's basically a free hook. Any hero should quickly fall after this combination. Once you have Dismember, you can typically start roaming around and play Pudge as you normally would otherwise. In team battles, you'll want to do your best to initiate with hook. Whoever you're able to hook will more than likely die, and this will turn the team battle heavily in your favor. Whenever possible, hook the highest priority hero on the opposing team, as oftentimes this will force their team to back and allow you to push the tower, or if you're pushing their base, this will force them to initiate off the hill and into a more favorable position for the team battle. Keep in mind you don't always need to use Dismember. If the situation needs Dismember in order to score the kill, then by all means use it. Otherwise, save it for the impending team battle. The art of hooking is very difficult to master as it takes a lot of game sense and a deep understanding of the game. As soon as people see Pudge, they begin to walk in very sporadic paths to attempt to juke your hook. You'll face people who will walk in a straight line in an attempt to outrun you, which will allow them to put a sufficient amount of distance between you and the hero, which means that they'll be able to look for the hook animation and juke away should you choose to throw out your hook. And then you'll also meet people who run in zigzags to avoid your hook. The best way to deal with this, in my opinion, is to throw your hook as quickly as possible. Surprise is the best tool that you have, and that's when people make the most predictable movements. Don't overthink your hooks, as 9 times out of 10, your starting position is the best position and timing to throw your hook out. In some cases, people will go overboard with this zigzagging, and allow you to walk right up to them. Learn to recognize these situations and capitalize on it. As Pudge, you'll want to learn the ins and outs of terrain. Once you do so, you're going to instinctively know exactly where the pathing is going to take them. If they're juking around trees, you already know where they're going and it'll be an easy hook. The key to this is to not wait to throw your hook, as people will start to use much more sporadic and unpredictable pathing to get away from you. Blind hooking is what people go absolutely crazy for. However, there's no real skill attached to this, but more so this is dominated by sheer luck and game sense. If, for example, you're going to be pushing a tower and you know that their team is going to defend, you can throw a random hook in and possibly land it, throwing things heavily into your favor. Keep in mind you don't want to do this if a team battle is absolutely imminent, as you'll want to wait for vision, as hook is extremely important for a successful team battle. Don't be discouraged if you miss 80% of your hooks when you start playing Pudge. He's a very difficult hero to play properly. Just be patient and keep working on it. He's a very addicting and rewarding hero once you've become well versed in the art of hooking. Thanks again for watching this hero guide on Pudge. You can look forward to our Mirana and Storm Spirit guide coming soon. Make sure to leave a comment about which hero you'd like to see a hero guide on next. Thanks again for watching, my name is Zegas, and don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.